Hey, what's going on? This is TNS Time and Space, and I would like to welcome you to episode 5 of Talk and Scroll. I wanted to talk to you about this particular issue, but before I do, I want to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe. And please make sure you hit that bell notification so you can be made aware of whenever I produce new content. Now that the housekeeping is done, this channel is called Talk and Scroll, so ultimately it's whatever I come across that makes me want to talk and scroll. And that can be a major issue, that can be something nationwide, and it can also be something in my Facebook feed. It could also be something that a Facebook friend posts. And that is what I'm going to talk about right now. So I like to bring awareness to different issues. Of course, we have our current events that make world and national news, but I wanted to do something that hits close to home. So this is a Facebook friend of mine that posted this. And the post says, "Tonight I got drinks and ice cream thrown at me. 4 chicks chasing me, calling me a pointy-nosed white bitch, and many other mean things. This happened while leaving a family-friendly arcade in Beaverton." It turns out that's Beaverton, Oregon. "So scary since I had no interaction with them at all to trigger this. What a mess. I have to decompress and shower." So my immediate reaction to this was a few things. So first, my immediate reaction was that there definitely is reverse racism. And it's funny because people will often say that we need to eradicate racism because racism is damaging to white people as well as minorities. But I believe that it stands to reason that if that's the case, then we can argue that reverse racism is damaging to minorities. In this case, we'll come to find that the offenders in this case were Latino women because they called this person puta, which obviously that's Spanish for whore and things of that nature. So we'll scroll through some comments. Really unfortunate situation. I believe that actually before I get into the comments, another observation I made about this is I believe that as a society, in our desire to eradicate white privilege, I think there's come to be an anti-white privilege movement. And in that case, it's like we've gone overboard in a sense to supposedly, I guess, even the score. You know what I mean? So people believe that it's okay to treat people this way because of historical injustices. But anyway, before I make it about me, I want to scroll through the comments. So someone says, "What the heck? No words were exchanged. They just came after you for no apparent reason." Unfortunately, there are people who feel justified in doing that. So we'll get to this person's explanation. Someone asked, obviously what happened. And she says, "My son left something at our table, so I went back inside to grab it. They were leaving at the same time. They were obnoxious and talking loudly, calling each other puta." So obviously they were Latino. "I know they were yelling at me when they said white bitch, but I kept walking quicker towards my car. Then they started chasing me and laughing. One threw her drink at me. Then they all threw theirs, one after the other." It's also such a shame the way we have, a herd mentality. Well, not we literally, but I'm talking about people, human beings in general, that we can have a herd mentality. So basically, one person took the step to go from verbal to physical harassment. So one person threw a drink and then the other people followed suit. And that's such a shame. And I wonder why people feel the need to do that. But I guess we're just hardwired to be followers in that way. So someone else said press charges. I would definitely agree with that. There's certainly no place for that because if we're going to look at it objectively, if this person was a minority or a black person and 4 white people treated her this way, everyone would be up in arms saying that it's a hate crime. So just because of historical injustices, that doesn't give people the right to quote unquote exact revenge or feel justified in treating people any kind of way. So someone said, basically, there are people describing how they're up in arms. So I'm just looking for comments that add context. So they go on to say, "I was so scared. They looked possessed. They were all much larger than me. I had my kids in the car. I didn't want to get beat up." As frustrating as it must have been, I commend her for keeping it together and keeping her children safe and not losing her composure, because that certainly, would be a justifiable reason to lose it if people treated you that way. Someone else says weapons, don't leave home without them. It's funny when you're treated like that and when these sorts of things happen, it's easy to say when you're not in danger to speak about gun control. I'm not saying that she would have needed to resort to shooting these people. However, you just never know. You never know, and you do have the right to protect yourself because these people, they obviously had no problem treating her awful and actually physically assaulting her. That's assault when you throw drinks or throw beverages or throw liquids on someone. That is assault. So they go on to tell their story. She says, they hit a BMW leaving the parking lot. So yes, the management of the establishment called the police. The staff saw me crying and covered in soda and ice cream, brought me towels and helped me clean off. They gave my 7-year-old tokens to play games. Other customers even offered me clothes they had in their car. I felt uneasy waiting for the police, like what happened wasn't worthy of a cop call. Isn't that silly? But the cops didn't show up. After waiting 30 minutes, my toddler was too fussy to wait any longer. It's a shame that the police, weren't responsive because they should have showed up. I mean, I'm not sure of what the Beaverton police department is like or what their workload was like. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt. However, that is unfortunate, and I hope that she was able to file a police report. And also the way she's describing these people's behavior in the aftermath, that they hit a parked car while leaving. Perhaps they were under the influence, maybe. I'd love to give the benefit of the doubt. Not that that would be an excuse, but at least it would explain versus someone just randomly treating a stranger that way. So I'm looking for the comments, but basically people also spoke about how supposedly there's white privilege, yet there are people who get treated this way. And I believe that we try our best to counteract, racism or white privilege, but some people go overboard and believe that they can take that out on individual white people. And someone else said, no way, I thought only white people were racist. Obviously, that's not true. And someone else said, dang, it sucks to have all that white privilege. Sarcasm, I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah, ultimately, we can talk about, the white power structure and all of these things, but that really doesn't have much to do with individuals. And I can also say that as a black person myself, I don't take any joy in hearing or seeing white people be persecuted in this way just for being white. It doesn't bring any joy to my day. I don't feel fulfilled. It doesn't help me in my day-to-day life. It does nothing for me. If anything, it reminds me of a quote that I read recently where it said that, inflicting pain on people doesn't take away your own pain. It just adds more pain to the world. So whatever these people felt that they were justified in doing this, it doesn't even the odds or anything like that. There's no joy in an eye for an eye. Maybe it might seem temporary, but it doesn't improve your life in any way. And it's just disgusting, to be honest. And I hate that this sort of thing happened. Someone else said, if they were concerned about a car and that got a report, they better take one on you. You're more important than a vehicle. Don't let this go. Get that report filed. And once they're found, unlikely they used cash, so the establishment should have records and video of them. Press charges. I agree. It is not acceptable. We need to get away from this herd mentality and feeling like we can attack any people. Whatever your personal biases may be, that doesn't give anyone the right to attack people. No matter who you are, we all have human rights. No one deserves to be treated that way. And it also made me think of something unrelated. Actually, before I jump into what I thought of that was unrelated, this person says, I'm glad you're okay and not hurt. Unfortunately, this is proof of requiring to defend yourself, and hopefully it doesn't escalate any further. Crazy folks out here. There's a man stalking around our neighborhood waiting to get into cars and homes. Please be careful. Yeah, definitely. In these days and times, we have to make sure that we can defend ourselves against people who feel emboldened, because we never know what's going on in their mind. Who knows what these people were thinking to where they would, attack a random stranger just because of the color of their skin. And someone else said, this is traumatizing what you and your son, seeing his mom covered in food from being attacked, endured. Please consider suing the venue for negligence. They should have intervened and hire an attorney to sue for any camera footage and do a civil suit against the attackers. You were abused and it is not okay at all. That kind of terrorism leaves trauma scars for years. So someone else responded to that. They said, seems legit, but if the cops didn't show up, the court system may not fully use justice. And then it caused a grip. Attorneys and the court want money, so they'll find the solution that fits that best without actual due process or fair and balanced. Would be wonderful if they would help. Yeah, I don't know what you do in that situation. It can be challenging. It's easy to say, file a police report and sue, but sometimes, unfortunately, it's not worth the trouble, which is unfortunate. But I was going to say what I thought of that's unrelated is I think about how we definitely enjoy our freedom of speech, but we need to be mindful of the words that we say. And I'm not saying it's a direct result, but for example, you'll have people who might say, talk about white privilege and things of that nature, and they might even be derogatory or speak derogatory about anybody, whether it's white people, black people, whoever. Those derogatory words, you never know who they might embolden. So you might hear somebody speak negatively about white people as a whole because of historical injustices, and then someone will feel emboldened to mistreat a white person just because of slavery or because of the history of the country or whatever the case may be. My attitude is no one who's alive today has any ties to slavery. No one from that time is alive. Some people may disagree with that, but that's just my belief. That's my 2 cents on the matter. And again, I have to reiterate that seeing white people mistreated does not improve the quality of my life. Seeing anyone mistreated does not improve the quality of my life. And even those who, bring about that mistreatment, those who mistreat people, anyone who mistreats anyone, it doesn't add to your life in any way. There may be a temporary satisfaction, but that's a twisted logic. And I just think it's so unfortunate that people, behave in that way. But anyway, I'm going to make that the end of it. I'm going to finish up with that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And this has been another episode of Talk and Scroll. Y'all take it easy.